Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are watching in the world. My name is Sean Driver. This is The Live. We're bringing in Brendan, who's going to cover a bunch of stuff today for us because I'm stuck in the office. So we've given the crash course. I'm going to be bantering about, and I've had some tech issues already, and I'm assuming everybody can hear me. We're here for our first return match into the EFL Trophy since, we've joined the EFL 15 years ago. Newcastle United 21 is up, and I appreciate that there is some, as I slide over to close the door, there is some who don't take this game as part of the trophy seriously because it's a under 21 side. The B clubs are not necessarily welcomed by a lot of fans into the competition, but we're going to have almost a sellout, it sounds like, for this match, which I think it's positive. I mean, I don't think there's any intention to bring B clubs from the Premier League into the U-21 clubs into regular club competition. Does it water down the competition? Maybe, but everyone has their opinion. I'm just glad that there's football. New run out as far as the people that are involved. Whoa, Brendan, your volume just went quite loud there, and I don't know what that is. I'm just going to mute you for a second and turn you down. In any event, lots of drama over the weekend. If you haven't seen the videos, feel free to do that. The Harrogate saga, as it is with Mr. Armstrong, and then all of a sudden the Wickham Warriors thing, those videos are out there. But we're here to talk about the game and the run out that will be. The lineup should be, and it's not. If you're looking for the stream to follow, we won't be streaming it below. You have to buy iFollow, which is down below. 80% goes to the club, so there's really nothing wrong with that. We'll bring up as I'm working on my phone, the lineup that's going on. So Ogonko gets his start in a Wrexham jersey, so that'll be exciting. Also, Tunnicliffe and Cleworth. Tunnicliffe back from injury, Cleworth getting a run out, so that's awesome. And Mr. Evans, who just joined us recently, is going to start in the center backs, which I guess he's got some experience there. Brennan was advising me maybe a little bit outside of his position, somewhat from what we anticipate and expect, but he's getting a run in the center backs with it looks like Ford and Jones on either side. So hey, Dale, last watch party for Dale as he's off to Wrexham this weekend, and so that'll be interesting to see how that all transpires. I'm excited to hear the stories and see the pictures and all that sort of stuff. For those of you that are unaware too, there's a Terry Fox cancer fundraiser that's happening on the Saturday, this Saturday in combination with the Doncaster match, and it will be, there's I think 22 Canadians that are descending there. Terry Fox was a Canadian who tried to run across the country when he was diagnosed with cancer, and he made it about 40% of the way before he had to stop because of illness, and unfortunately passed the year after. But his efforts have led to the largest single day fundraiser for cancer research in the world. And so Wrexham is picking that up. So that's kind of exciting news there. But anyway, going back to the lineup, Young, which I think is important for the set pieces, are going to be in there. McAlinden and McFadden, which I'm excited to see them get their run out. And did I say Ford or Jones would be on the wings? McFadden maybe on the wing. I haven't seen how that's going to line up. Dalby and Waters up front. And then we've got some experience coming in off of the bench. So excited for that whole process. I'm going to bring back Brendan here to start the handover. If I can figure this out on my phone, that would be better. There we go. You want to just go ahead and talk, Brendan, and we'll see how the audio is all working? Yeah, we got you fine. Beautiful. So he'll be here for the duration. I'm going to probably start for a little bit, just make sure everything's ticking along well, and we've got the score and the captions are working, and I might lurk in the background while Brendan leads the charge, and then I'm going to do my work while I watch the game, and that's just how this one's going to have to work. My apologies for everybody who woke up for the Tranmere game. I didn't. I set 3 alarms, and I must have slept through all of them because I tested them and they all went, but that's just what they are. I see there's some chats already coming in, so let me see what those end up saying. Tunnicliffe with Evans at the back, that's very interesting. I absolutely agree. Well, Tunnicliffe, maybe not so much to me. I don't know why. I could see him getting a run back there. Cleworth, obviously excited to see him back. But Evans, not what I was expecting. Is without hearing that he'd actually played some before, I would have expected to be somebody else in the back. And is that the only chat that my phone will let me bring up? No, it's not. We got Scala. How are you? And what do I think? Yeah, see, that's the question. Is Evans at center as a center back? I don't know I'd have to go through the stats and find out how often he'd played in that position, because it was just intuitive to me that he was a defensive midfielder. I suppose he's probably played there enough, but he's experienced. He's got lots of time behind him, so Parky has to know what his limitations are, I would anticipate. Just got
that looks great. Hospitality suite. You're gonna have to
oh man,
yeah.
You're gonna have to share the whole story. Like we want
exactly.
all the details, all the stands, pictures. How'd you get the upgrade to the hospitality suite so that we could all track that one down? Just I guess out of pocket or whatnot. But embrace it, man, and pictures of everybody you meet and videos. If you're streaming, let us know how bad the connection is, because if you get an opportunity to drop me an email with a video, I would happily take that at the half and play it on replay here. Yeah. So you guys should be up on iFollow. I actually haven't even connected that yet, and I'm going to have to do that because we're only 6 minutes away, and I'm sure Mark is espousing his glory. I'm hoping. I don't know what I'm hoping for. Brennan, are you hoping for a win, or do you want to just focus on the league? Because again, like the cup, this is sort of the tear.
I like that we got 3 games. with this. I like getting some of the other players in, getting them some action. We have to get to McNichols at some point to see if he's anything worth keeping. We have to see with the today's keeper how good he is. And we got to keep some other guys fresh. I'm worried about how we're going to handle Mindy in the future with McLean.
Yep.
You can't not be playing with McLean. He was too impactful. So, yeah, there's a bunch of guys I think can get a run out of it. I wouldn't mind going a couple of games inside this format. So,
yeah, I'm with you. It's one of those ones that you got to get out of the group and you're frustrated. But I guess if you take a couple of wins in the playoff part of things, then maybe you end up. I mean, we still claim that we won this tournament back in, what was it, 2004, 2005, and so that will never go away. So I guess there's some stock to winning it, but it's one of those things where. The other thing that throws me off is not all of the games are scheduled at the same time. Like for us, we're playing this game, but Doncaster, who we play on Saturday, doesn't play until the week after. And so you kind of are always watching to see who's got run out and who hasn't got run out, and how they may be for exhaustion and legs. And at the end of the year, when you've got deep FA Cup runs and you're still doing this tournament, it becomes a different sort of creation, and a different concern that's allowed. I don't know if you guys can hear that playing in the background, but I've connected to iFollow and away we go. So feel free, let us know your thoughts.
I like what Maurice has to say here. I was really hoping that they had some sort of plan to replace Toes at some point, or at least give him a break, because they seem to run him every single game, and he looks slow at times. And I like the idea of Evans or trying somebody else back there to run the show. And if it's Evans, that's great. So we'll get to see today.
Yeah, and to be fair, it may end up over time being Cleworth who slides over as well. And maybe because of his age, protect him on the wing a bit on the side rather than putting him right back into the middle, and sort of being the anchor. So whether it's Evans and his experience, whether it's another player stepping up, that's what these sort of trophy games are about, right? The FA Cup, I want a full lineup. I mean, take that thing and run it as far as you can, and the ticket revenues from that are worth running in the FA Cup. Not just the ticket revenues, the wins that you get per round. You start to get up into the third round and you're making 100,000 quid for the club on a go forward. With the FA Cup, it's 100,000 quid for the champion. So it's certainly a different scale. Where are we guys watching this from? I'm from north of the border in Canada. Brendan's from Massachusetts. Yep, we have, I can't bring my captions up as well as I'd like to. We have 16 countries that have been here before. We've got 16 states represented, 4 provinces. So if you guys, the players are just taking the pitch, by the way, if people don't have a stream. Let us know where you guys are coming from so that I can update our list and see where things are at. So it's exciting to see. the guys come out for this one, man, they're young. And I love, it's just like hockey. It's always high numbers. It's not quite like this with the NFL, right? Because the numbers are sort of by position, but it's like ice hockey. If you know how high the number of the player is, it's either they're an all-star or they're completely young. Like when you see numbers like 42 and 65 and 53, you know they're not experienced players.
Ricardo,
Hoping for a
where are you
better.
watching it from?
So again, if you're looking for the stream, you've got to go with iFollow down below, pay the fee. If you don't pay the fee, we tend to provide some play-by-play here. We also tend to answer questions as they come into the chat if you're new. So the best option is if you've got the money and the capacity is to go to iFollow, just Google search iFollow Wrexham, bring it up and load it up and away you go.
A lot of great camera angles today. We usually don't get this in the regular season games, but
Which is odd because I'm not confident the EFL Trophy games are actually being streamed. Like this is, it even says with the badge when you look at it, EFL iFollow.
So do you think these are just the new ones that we'll always be able to see the game from? Because I've never seen it from this corner between the tech end and the away fans, this camera angle.
This angle, yeah. To be fair, I don't know, but this is what brought me back to the EFL Cup thing. I can understand giving deference to Sky Sports for the EFL Cup matches and not showing the rest, but at least have it on an immediate follow or something, so that we can all get involved. I would have turned off all of my notifications and just ended up watching the game. It's sort of frustrating not to get them. Father Ted's back. Welcome.
Yes, hello, Father Ted.
And so we're just getting off, and it does look, it's odd to see the race course not full.
There's next to nobody in the away stand.
Yeah, the whole upper on the two wings are almost vacant. But they're estimating, I think, 6,000 or 7,000, which for this level of the competition, you look at the numbers, there's some that have as low as 400 people. So anyways, we are off. I'll let Brendan take over, and I'm just largely going to sit back and watch for a little bit and make sure everything's working. And if it's not, I'll jump in, and then I'm going to watch and listen while the game boils down and do some work.
Work for you. So there's not much happening at the moment. If you aren't watching on iFollow, they've had possession in the back. They just moved it up. Just being kicked back and forth at the moment. Dalby's got the ball. Sees Waters cutting, passes. Yeah, blocked. Newcastle has the ball. Taking their time. Foul on Waters, nothing significant. I really like the fact that Mark is still doing the commentating. Newcastle with a long ball down the right side. No. It's out. Will be a Friday. It was a good game. Last time we played Newcastle, the same race. Dale's going this weekend. Nice. Nothing going on at the moment. Tiny push going in. Newcastle gets it. Kicks the head. That's something I didn't realize about the game, that you can step out of bounds. It's all about where the ball is, and not if you're standing out of bounds and you touch the ball, it doesn't then make the ball out of bounds, which is the opposite of the majority of sports in the U.S. American football and basketball and so on. It's like water is following somebody again. Hello, WG. How you doing? I don't know. It's a good question. I don't know how we're going to handle them. I would think, our advantage would be physical play. We don't exactly have our big guys in. No Palmer, no Boyle, no O'Connell. Those guys bring, even McLean, huge physical presence. None of them are in. So I don't know if we'll have that kind of physical advantage. Wanted to stole the ball, tried to pass ahead to Dalby a little too far. Newcastle with the cover. Newcastle just every time someone challenges the ball and they're up near the body, they flop. I wonder if that's like a standard thing that they teach. Instead of fighting for the ball, they just drop. Wide with the ball, right in the corner box. Kick wide to Jones. Oh, bad pass. Guess he's trying to lead forward. Are you having a hard time hearing me, John? Okay, I'm sorry. Is that any better? I don't know. There's something going on with my audio. Audio's low. Okay. Let's see if I can do anything about that. My earbuds, yeah. A lot of background noise, I can sort of up there. My son decided to pick the perfect time to go run the microwave. Hello, Kim. A lot of background noise, okay. Newcastle with the ball, midfield. Ford. A lot of speed to get that there, take the ball. Newcastle throwing it in, midfield. Are you guys still hearing a lot of noise? You're still hearing a ton of background noise? Is that what you're saying right now?
Yeah, there is. I don't know what it is because you've got the headset in, and I can't hear any of the audio behind. But it's just it's a high pitch hiss. I'm just going to turn you down a little bit, and I'll jump on for a little bit while that lets you go ahead and see if maybe just a headset needs to be unplugged and plugged back in, or something along those lines. If you wanted to, I can do this and take it right off, and then I'll bring you back in as we go through. So I guess I'm doing this, and I'm going to set this aside for the time being. I'm at the 7-minute mark, and I'm not going to be able to bring in all of the chats because I'm just connected to you guys through the phone. So. It is what it is as we get creative here. First 7 minutes so far that I've watched, it's sort of been back and forth. It's a lot like the preseason games that we had before in the sense that a lot of leg, a lot of speed in the Newcastle team, and you'd expect that from a U-21 team that doesn't have a lot of experience, but they make mistakes like this one where the goaltender just punted it out and gave us a throw in just inside our half. So down the left field side, putting it into your head. If you don't have this head on your screen, Wrexham going from left to right, Newcastle going from right to left on your computer monitor. The ball's in. I'm just going to move this over so I can see full screen. Free kick to us from just inside the their half. We've drawn it back. And it's interesting. Now with Evans in the back, it gets kicked back. And I guess I should just know that he's the only person that I'm not going to recognize, because I was like, who is that? And to be fair, I haven't seen Tunnicliffe or Cleworth or even Macklin and McFadden in such a long time that seeing them getting the ball in the back as they're passing it back and forth is taking some time to get used to. So Evans searching there. We're just possession, and just going back and forth. Up, it's taken down. That's got to be a free kick to us, and it is. Waters ended up going down on that one. I'll bring Brendan. You ready to have another crack at it? Oh, we still got the white noise.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. There's nothing else they can measure up here.
What happens if you were to and you're using your computer mic, like your laptop mic?
Yeah, it's well behind me. I don't know. I don't think I can do that.
See, it goes quiet. Just so we'll bring it back. So forward down the right side, into the half, free kick played back. Lots of possession for Wrexham here as it's gone back and forth in the back the entire time. Last 2 minutes, I've essentially been talking to you guys, and that's the situation again. I'm going to bring up another forward headed down. Newcastle cleared. Not a lot of patience from Newcastle when they end up getting the ball, I would find, at least not in the midfield. That one kind of came forward from the center back into the midfield, and an opportunity to sort of settle it down in midfield, but instead of trying to do something with it, just sort of laser kicked up into the air and away it went. Sorry, Sandra, I'm not able to stream. Copyright rules don't allow it. Your options are iFollow, and you can pay the match fee is 10 quid. 8 quid goes to Wrexham, so nothing wrong with that. And we've got a Newcastle fan, Mr. Perry, enjoying a run out of his young guys to see who's out there. And to be fair, this is not a team that I look to see who is potentially coming out, because in these competitions, you'll never really know. Evans settling it down in the midfield. Looking for, is that McFadden, I'm assuming, over on that side. Can't see the numbers. Young to Tunnicliffe. Evans, lots of ball for Evans as he's searching to find somebody in the midfield to break, and they've got it now to forward down the right. He's running the ball towards the midfield, and it goes back to Mr. Evans, who's just playing quarterback. If you're looking for the game, I'll bring that up. You've got to go to Wrexham iFollow if you want to watch the match. It's the only option that's available for you. It should be available for domestic viewers in the UK, being an EFL Trophy match. But for international fans, it's certainly available. And so you've got to pay the fee. The prices are down below. It's 10 quid just for this match, 25 quid monthly, and 140 quid for the season. So that's the stream that's available for you guys if you're interested. Otherwise, you're just going to have to listen to me drone on. And there are some who enjoy doing that aspect of things. And Waters in with a chance down the right on a great ball. Tries to step on it, stop it, doesn't gets it back to forward on the right wing. He's looking for a cross, and Dolby had a chance. Dolby had another chance. It comes free. That's got to be a handball goal. That was like 5-6 shots. That was insanity. The goalie lost it, ends up being spat out, and I could probably name anybody from up front who actually ended up having a crack before Dalby ended up putting it in. But that was just attempt after attempt after attempt after attempt before it finally ended up getting in there. I'm trying to figure out Waters is just sort of rolling his eyes at Dalby on like the madness and the chaos that was that one. Wow. What I'll do is I'm going to try and bring up the scores here and change this up. Let me see if I can figure it out. So Waters gets it by Ford, and I think it was Dalby with the first attempted header. Dalby couldn't get up there, and it looks like that was McElinden who had the shot, and then it ended up coming back, and Dalby's finally takes it there. And I think, to be fair, the one before Dalby kicked it in, you've got to call that a handball anyway, right? Landed right in his midsection and in his arms. That was just a mess, and we were there to clean it up, and we'll take it. We're up 1-0, and right off the kickoff, they get another shot coming down. And there we go, bring the score up. I'm going to try to bring Brendan in one more time to see how we're doing here. That's way better. Oh, and then it got bad. right after I said that's way better. It's not as bad. We'll keep you because it's not the high. There was one point where it was becoming difficult to hear you. So it is what it is. What did you see on the goal?
I saw chaos in front of the net, and a lot of missing, and they finally buried it on the third try.
I'll tell you what, Ford's entries we just had another opportunity there. Ford's entries are causing a lot of problem. That's a free kick to them. Yeah, a little bit overexcited on the challenge there.
Hello, Kaja. I'm sorry. I don't even know how to say your last name.
Dudkowitz?
Dudkowitz.
And is it Kaja or Kaya? Dudkowitz.
Sorry, yeah. I'm upset. We're trying. It's 1-0 on the score.
Did I do it the second time? Did I not? Is Dudkowitz not right?
Kaja. Dude. Well, it's dude, right?
Dudkowitz. Andrew's made it in. Welcome, Andrew. It's nice to have you back.
Andrew.
15-minute mark if you're following along. What I might do is I'm going to go back to eavesdropping, and I'll leave you to it, Brendan, okay. and maybe jump on.
Oh, Sandra.
Father Ted's given his opinion.
Kayevich. Nice. Here we go. Newcastle with the ball. They're bringing it in. Broke it up. Defense is holding fine against the under-21s here. I agree with you, though. Our defense overall it stands some tweaking. Spelling is good. Newcastle's getting spoken to. The way to put the ball in. Still 1-0 Wrexham. Again, the place is definitely not filled tonight. You can see the difference, but the crowd seems fairly lively and loud. Ball's just going back and forth at midfield. Newcastle now making a run down the right. Is it loud tonight? You can hear it? Okay. Newcastle with the ball at midfield. Yeah, Andrew, curious to hear what you think, same with Dale, about Maurice brought up that Evans, they might be testing Evans at Tozer's spot as their either long or midterm replacement for him, or at least to give him a break. Uh, what do you think about that? I also thought he plays a little mid, so I don't know if he'd be out there, him Liam Jones or him O'Connor. I don't know. Also, I don't know if they're ever going to move McLean into the middle at all. If they're going to be bringing back Mendy playing them at the same time. I don't think Mendy plays anywhere else. So Newcastle with the ball, midfield, minor run. Most of the back, most of the defense is back. And the two coming. Shot deflected. Nothing really there. A little smooth move there in the defense. Waters with the ball, tries to put it ahead to Dalby. Two-man run against 4 defenders, against 5 defenders, against 6 defenders. They take it wide, they look to forward. Come on, Dalby's right there. What are you doing? He's outside. Pass ahead to Dalby, making a run, tried to chip across. Wasn't going to get to Waters. There was 5 guys around.
I'm just going to jump in, Brendan, because it's coming on and off with the static, and when it's on, it becomes really difficult to hear things. So I'm what I might do is I'm just going to turn yours down. I'll leave you with us, but I think I can set this way. There, so you're still on screen. I can barely hear you though, because I've turned the volume down, and we're at the 19-minute mark. It's been much of what the first 10 minutes or that little gap that I ended up covering before is. I think midfield, they've been struggling to advance it forward. They did get an opportunity here. Sandra, I think everybody's a Wrexham fan except for 2 Newcastle fans. Score is not up because we posted a chat. So it's 1-0 for Wrexham, and I'll leave that one up there for as long as we can. I am doing some upgrades as we await on a free kick from Newcastle from the right, just about halfway between the midfield stripe and the goal line. Looking at adding some upgrades with OSB to include some graphics and change the formatting of this so that we can include more information. Balls in, I don't know what that was. I don't know if that was supposed to be to the players on the left of the wall or if that was an attempted shot. But anyway, it just rolls harmlessly out of play and away we go. The graphics come up showing Billy Waters, and that wasn't Billy Waters. I don't know if anybody else got that. So down through the middle of the field, Waters there makes a large jump for it. It rolls over to Ford on the right side. He's going to clean it up back to, and I think it's Cleworth playing on the right side back there. Dalby now settling it down. Over to Ford. His crosses have been sort of what we've been looking for. There's another cross that gets in, a really good one. Misses the header. That was, looks like Dalby again searching. Might have been Waters. I missed who that was on the ground. Back to Evans. Missed him, fell to the feet just beyond the reach of Wrexham players and cleared out. So now we've got possession in the back. It's a lot harder to call this when the lineup is different and you're trying to figure out where everybody is. So Tunnicliffe moving it up down the left side. Cross goes in and it sort of misses everybody and rolls. Ford goes to chase it. We'll see what the Newcastle defender does with time. I'll give the credit to the Newcastle players at the back. They've looked confident and comfortable in clearing the ball. It's and settled when they've got possession. It's just everything in the midfield seems a little discombobulated, and they're struggling with the passing, the crossings. The back line is. George Evans, as he's done so many times, collecting in the back as they look to move forward, gets it up to Luke Young. And I just lost my stream. I'm going to have to bring you in, Brendan, because it's just that kind of day where the tech gremlins are living, breathing problems.
Oh, one of those days. Okay, hope you guys can hear me. Yeah, what we have at the moment with the Shaun Harvey. Nothing going on in the game. Yeah, Wrexham's throwing it in the midfield. Props for saying discombobulated. I can say that, I just can't say Kaja. Okay, Wrexham with the ball down the left side. Looks like Young, I think. Looks like Young to have the ball. I've always used this headset. I didn't have any complaints, at least with work, so I thought it would be fine again. So I'll just get out of some mics and put a fuzzy bunny on it. Hopefully that'll clear up the background noise. I can't just turn up my audio. Okay, I'll turn it back up. I thought you guys were getting background noise, so that you didn't want to hear the audio louder. I did turn it up a bit. Hopefully that'll do it. I don't know.
Free kick in, header, settled down, mass chaos in the box again. Somebody score it up.
No,
lose control. And,
Newcastle.
oh, they are able to get it away. They've got numbers. Man, they've got some pace. McFadden's left. Oh, that was a good ball to the right, but pushed a little bit too far. Yeah, he did have. Oh, he did have that was a good ball down the right wing, and the Newcastle player was just probably pushed maybe 4 to 5 feet too far, which ended up making it run to the goal line. Otherwise, they would have had a play there. So of fortunate. Oh, boy. Clear in and over top. The convert is good. The goal is not. He had more time than he thought. Number 43 can't read the back, and I don't have the lineup set up in front of me. But a good through ball. Had everybody beat, picked it up with lots of space. He could have paused, stopped, taken that. As it was, Ogonko just had to make himself large. And did so, and he flipped it over top. Wanted a chip and just got too much.
Wrexham, because we just kicked everything over the net. So.
Yeah. And what's odd, I've turned your volume down just a little bit on my end, and now I've got no feedback from you, Brendan.
Oh, is that what it was? That's what John kept saying.
So I don't know if you did something on your end, but you're right as rain now.
No, I haven't done anything. It must have been coming through. So you double up for me too, but I've turned you all the way down.
Odd.
Okay.
Well, let's go with it, and we'll see what ends up happening here. 26th minute, and away I go.
All right, so Newcastle with the ball in the back, playing pass with the goalie keeper. They're really going to be kicking themselves. That chance was way too good to not score. I don't know about you guys, but I watched the replays from the last game, and seeing all of those tremendous chances and watching us kick it over the goal or kick it wide was so frustrating. They Wrexham with the ball, knocking it ahead, still near midfield, nothing really going on at the moment. Yeah, passing it back, passing it around, keep possession. It's 27-10 on the clock at the moment. Still 1-0. Bad turnover, but we recovered, kicked it ahead. Waters with Stark, but surprised McFadden. Yeah. Oh, kicked over the net. Wasn't really much of a threat there from outside the box, Newcastle. I think it might have been deflected, so they didn't have a corner here. I'm not sure. I don't know, Andrew. I mean, yeah, I don't know how many times we're going to see this lineup that's in here right now. But I do like the fact we're giving a lot of our, the core key guys a break and letting some of the others get some time that haven't been on the pitch in a long time. There's a corner kick by Newcastle, got deflected out of bounds on an attempted kick. Gives another corner in. There's a header right to the goalie. No problem. I'm going to have to hear people say his name a couple of times before I feel
Ogonquo.
Ogonquo?
I only say that because if it's the same pronunciation, there's a Minnesota Viking who has the same last name in the NFL. So I've just adopted it because I'm a Vikings fan. So I'm assuming that's the same pronunciation. The chat has turned interesting. It's the first time it's been, I think, this active with jokes, humor, and personal sidebars. Not saying it's a bad thing. Just saying it's interesting. Thanks, Kai. I like you too.
Just doesn't like me. You can get her name
A
now.
long, long time ago. I won't. That's personal. We're up to 7 shots already. I wouldn't be surprised if the expected goals were far into our favor here. So approaching the 30th minute, if you're following along at home, as Parky gets a little bit of a play there and throw in down the left side.
Go. With the ball. That pass ahead, home is ready to go.
Moment of brilliance from McFadden with keeping possession there, and then gave it away down the left side.
Yeah.
I was just about to compliment him and then went, "Aw."
It's a little chaotic.
As long as nobody takes a knock.
Passing it around the outside, you got down the right side at the moment. Long ball ahead. Waters got knocked off the ball. They put it out.
That's got to roll. That's a corner.
By Waters.
Throw in.
Waters with the ball.
We've looked a lot better down the right side than the left side. Like the crosses from forward have been.
Keeps it in. Oh, nice tip ahead. Evan Waters just didn't go. No, thank you. You can't not like Shaun. He's a Canadian, right? Isn't that mandatory? Like
I'd still apologize if you didn't like me.
I'm the unsophisticated, gruff American, right? That's understandable. Just naturally hated, but.
Andrew, I think of anybody who joins these chats frequently, you're probably the happiest that we've got somebody to rely on in goal rather than the young man from Sligo.
Yeah.
Or who at least played there. I don't know if he was born there. Which I still don't know his number either. Anybody knows his jersey number? Hasn't been up on the website. Obviously, he hasn't got a run out yet, so it's the only player that I'm completely unaware of what their number is. I don't know if you're with
So
me, Brendan, on assessing things, but the back line looks solid for Newcastle. The forwards have been creative for Newcastle, but to me, their midfield has just let them down continually all game. Like even right now down the right side, they just seem to get this connection from the back to the front. Just it's
I
missing
absolutely
in the
agree.
middle.
Yeah. The only thing that they're doing, they have their long balls are not very good. They're not connecting. They're not able to pass through the middle. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, I agree with you. Both teams seem really good at having a lot of guys back, but when they rush, they're only rushing 2 or 3 against 5 or so defenders and the goalie. So I can't expect that you want that to pan out a lot. I thought they'd be a little bit more aggressive considering they're down 1-0, but maybe they're just settling in. No flash scores for you, Andrew, so you're not going to know ahead of time. That's nice. You'll have to wait for us to tell you.
No expected. I wonder if FOTMob has it up. Let's bring it up.
Newcastle with the ball up midfield, kicking it ahead. Yeah, their long balls are just not anywhere close to connecting.
Yeah, nothing in the stats from FOTMob either. Nobody's covering the league or the Pizza Cup stats. McFadden from the left, that looked like a handball and potentially just inside the box. Maybe shoulder. I think McFadden looked to originally appeal that before it came back to Evans, but ended up not doing it.
It's Shaun.
McNicholas is number 31. Writing that down before I lose track.
Yeah, what do you think the chances are if we get up a couple? Do you think they would put him in the second half? That would be nice.
There's no harm in doing it, the way I look at it. Number 84, Mr. Harris, the keeper. I will say, I'm excited about Ogonko coming in. The only thing is, if we were looking for an academy or a former academy goalkeeper to bring in, Tom McGill was there from Brighton. It would have been our first Canadian. He could have been brought in on a loan as well and given the same opportunities, almost the same stock. But is what it is. Maybe Brighton didn't want to lose him. Who knows? Cleared out for a throw. McFadden's going to take that one. Is anybody else have a Tozer cannon? It's on this one. I like everybody. Sandra says she likes me. Kaya says she likes me. I'm all for being liked.
Oh, nice kick ahead there. Oh, goalie has to come way out. Way outside the park.
That hitch step, Harris had that, so that was a long ball to come from Okonkwo all the way forward. Harris goes running out, but he did a little hitch step. I'll watch this one again and see if you see it. What I saw live anyway. He's running forward, and Harris is like, "Do I go? Do I not go?" And then he gives a little hitch step before he ended up really committing to it and clearing it out.
In the box here, Wrexham shoots. Knocked down. Is Cannon injured? I don't know, Maurice. I haven't heard anything from him. He's certainly not on the bench. There's a lot of players not on the bench.
And is it official that Mendy's hurt too? I heard a rumor on Twitter about that too. And when did that end up happening? If it happened at all. But then who knows? It's one of my frustrations and maybe my biggest frustration with following football in England is how guarded they are with injuries and contractual negotiations and those sorts of things. Like, it's the one thing I like about North American sports is you're able to know how much did we pay for them, who did we give up to sign them, why are they injured, how long are they going to be out. And I find in football it's cloak and dagger stuff all the time. The Newcastle away fans do not look entertained.
Yeah. Really, Father Ted, you don't like Cannon at all, huh?
Cannon to me has all of the tools, and he reminds me a little bit of Ewan O'Connell in the sense that when on, world beater quality, but when off, I almost feel like I could go out there and do similar things. I couldn't, but his consistency is just not there. His talent, I think, is, but you just never know what you're going to get. Fun fact: Tom McGill signed with, and that message cut off.
It says signed with Brighton at age 14.
Oh, at age 14. Yeah, he's been there forever. And he, other than the loan spell he had last year, which ended up giving him this concussion and setting him back a little bit, I mean, he's their third goaltender. His stats and all the reports end up saying he's exceptional, which you'd expect going through as an academy goaltender with a Premier League team. And he's now the backup goaltender for Canada's national team. He could have gone with either England or Canada, but I think he saw the writing on the wall with where he was at, and I don't think he's been capped. But anyways,
Mendy's out for international duty. Okay.
A future international, I think, with us. 39th minute. It's a quiet. Is it not like the? It's almost like the race course. I mean, no, it's a church, but it seems like it's a church. There's everybody just enjoying a game of kickabout.
So, my favorite Wrexham player, he hasn't been there long, but it might be McLean. I like his effort, hard-nosed, tough player, seems smart. I don't think he's going to let anybody slack out there. Like, he seems like that kind of leader. So that might be my guy. Although I really like Boyle defensively. How can you not like Lee and Mullen? But I'm presuming you want me to pick someone not too obvious there. If you're saying outside of that, I don't know if you're talking about soccer players or if you're footballers or
that was a mistake.
I don't know.
Working on my phone, I just can't do anything that I want to do. I don't know what that message was about, and I was trying to figure out more about the user. So I'd rather not have the advertisements on the stream.
Yeah, that was Wrexham with the ball in the field. They've basically been controlling it here for the last few minutes. 41 minutes, about 4 minutes left without extra time. I can't believe they're going to be putting up much extra time in this half, maybe a minute or two, but I'd be surprised if it's more than that. Maurice is saying Mendy hasn't been picked. What I did find interesting is no McLean, no Mendy today, like even in the bench. So.
Well, that's why I looked it up, and it looked like he somebody referenced that he was injured, and I went, well, I haven't heard anything about that. So free kick and a yellow card. Jones just got a little bit too aggressive there on the defense and kind of did the throw by.
The match currently is on iFollow. Sorry, we don't.
So my favorite Wrexham player, I got to go with O'Connor, and I wouldn't have said that except for the preseason stuff and seeing the quality that he had in the set pieces, and his ability. I think he's gotten more in him than we've seen, and he's smooth, he's collected, he's calm, and he's young, and I can see him potentially being around for years. So I guess that's the thing, is if I'm going to put a number on the back of a jersey at some point in time, you end up locking down TOC's jersey, because I think he's is probably going to be there for a bit. Brennan, you're kind of referee, not calling any fouls there. McFadden took that little bit of a flop, and he just kind of laughed at him. And
I saw Newcastle flopping a lot early, and they didn't get any calls, so they gave up on it, which is great.
Yeah.
They haven't been flopping much in the last, 5 to 10 minutes. 42-30 at the moment, so another 2.5 minutes or so. Wrexham still up 1-0. Balls at midfield. Yeah, Lee's been great. Definitely.
Throw in from the right side. Get it back to Cleworth. Evans is the mighty quarterback. Young, Tunnicliffe over on the left side. McFadden searching, nothing. Recycle back. It's sort of been this, to be fair, from both sides, although we've been doing it more frequently. The only difference is when we go down the right side, and usually through Ford, we've found a way to be able to get through and get a chance in, which helped to create the first goal after what was that, 5 attempts, 5 kicks to try and score it. Long ball down.
Get some of the screen right now.
Sorry, I missed that.
Because it's halftime. It'll be about halftime in a minute on the screen. Maybe we're a bit behind on the feet.
Did you see that awkward slip from Algonquo there?
Newcastle with the ball. There's a kick. Oh, great save. Great diving save.
Well done.
Yeah.
He needed that one to sort of save himself there, because he ended up having a clearing, and it wasn't an immediate turnover, but he slipped and sort of fell and was out of sorts for a bit there. He's got to check his cleats. That was probably the save. See, now we know how slow we are with the stream coming back. I'm assuming that was the big save. Hopefully it's not a goal that comes here as Newcastle kicks it in. And I don't know what the intention was with that cross, but they've been able to maintain possession, probably because it was such a weird cross it was impossible to defend, because you don't expect the ball to go into that back third of the box up high.
They announced how much extra time, but I didn't see it.
Yeah, I didn't see it either.
Yeah, they have said this 12 seconds in on the 1 minute extra. Andrew's saying both Mendy and James are out for international duty right now, which is...
Well, I heard that Mendy wasn't actually brought in on Gambia's squad. I know McLean's away.
Well, when is Andrew wrong, though? Andrew's never wrong, though. This can't be.
Okay.
This can't be.
It is true. I'd take Andrew over some random person's statement, but all the stuff I wasn't able to verify over the weekend and prior to today's match because of other things going on.
Uh-oh. Another over the goal. That was close. Newcastle there.
Stevenson, I don't know where he could have gone with that if he hadn't gone right over the board or right over the goal.
Yeah, PSG.
Must be halftime. So Rexford doesn't think he's with Gambia either. I know he got the call up before. He didn't make the sub list or the roster, so maybe it was just a quick little blip. Would have been nice for him to get a cap. But I've seen references saying we've got 2 internationals, and then maybe he didn't get called in. I haven't looked at the squad, and I am curious to see if they qualify for the AFCON. But we're at halftime, 1-0, sort of an uneventful, limited spirit affair, isn't it? It just feels dry.
like we've played much together. That group that's out there looks disjointed, definitely. There's too many passes ahead and guys aren't going, and double clutching and not sure lead a guy in or out. They got to get it together.
Andrew, I haven't heard anything about the appeal other than the statement that came out last night that they'd said they'd put together all of the materials. There's still lots of speculation. The concerning part for me on the appeal is if it's the international transfer certificate, I think you've got to grant the appeal, assuming this isn't like the Leicester situation where they still filed it late even though they had the extension. But the team posted, we sent our documents in, including the international stuff, at 11:53, which is 7 minutes early. So, but what concerns me is there's also reference to that there may have been other documentation, and if that's the case, it's going to be a hard sell unless there's a really good reason for it. That's just my take on it, but I haven't heard that the information's been collated. They were waiting something back from the EFL, and I expect, using the Blackburn one as the precedent, we should hear by the end of the week at the latest. And then the team will have to decide whether they want to march forward to arbitration or not, which they better hope that the board decides in their favor, because the arbitration will be really hard.
Thanks for calling that up, Kim. It's when watching the game, it felt like Newcastle really kind of woke up in the last 10 minutes of that half and turned it on. So yeah, we have to wake back up. Otherwise,
thanks for that, Rex. So not on the squad list for the Congo, and I don't know if that's the whole extended. I guess that it would be the whole squad list, because he made that, but then didn't make the actual onto the bench for the game. So I don't know if he's there at all, or if he's at home, or if he's, as some have said on Twitter, he's potentially injured. So just check. No, I appreciate that. Good stuff. And I guess their game is, what, 4 days from now? I think it's September 9th. I'm just going off of recollection here. Yeah. Frustrating. Would always like to get the internationals in, but for Wrexham, but it is what it is. Yeah. No kidding.
That's one of the things I wasn't sure about. Got McLean to back up Mendy when Mendy's out doing international stuff, and now, but he's international as well. So
Sandy, you're talking about Dale, or are you talking about the Terry Fox event, or maybe both? I'm excited for you guys to get a chance to meet. Man, my operating on the phone is not okay, because it is so hard to get things up. Yeah, and has anybody been watching the Irish football team's take on Mr. McLean? There are a lot of people who think that he's run his course. He's got his 100 caps, and they were slagging League Two, and McLean came in and sort of set him straight and was talking about the quality of the football, and said it's as good as the Scottish Premiership and better than the Irish top division, and it didn't go over very well. So a man who's not afraid to state his opinion.
Really?
We're on iFollow, Father Ted. Everything that we do internationally has to be through iFollow, except if cup matches are picked up by ESPN Plus or DAZN, then those are our only options. And not actually, FA Cup in Canada is not DAZN, it's Sportsnet. And I think we're going to run into the same problem with the FA Cup as we did with the Carabao, is if the game's not picked up, we're probably going to be doing a listening party, and that's all we're going to sneak in, which is frustrating. Love it. That's Andrew. You have the exact same opinion that I have, unless there was some act of God. They lost power. The building blew up. They couldn't send out a carrier pigeon to deliver the message. If it's the international clearance, they have to, for fairness. You can't have an imposition limit 4 teams, and I know people are saying, well, then they have an extra hour and nobody else does. Yeah, but no other team has to deal with the rule. Nobody has to get an international clearance for an England to England transfer. It's because it's an English to Welsh transfer. So I'm glad you thought it was fun. I didn't like it. That was way too much stress.
Yeah. There's something we're not hearing though, obviously, right? Because you were saying we got the information at 11:53 and turned it around in a couple of minutes and sent it out. So obviously, if that's the case, there must have been something else missing. If they actually did that, turned it around that quickly.
And we will not know unless it goes to arbitration.
Right.
Right. If it's a board decision, this is all going to be closed up unless the club decides to volunteer it. But given how things are, I doubt that would happen. It's the one reason why I kind of hope it goes to arbitration, because the Blackburn decision that came out from last year, I don't know if anybody looked at the descriptions in the video that I did on this topic. When you bring that up, it brings the chronology up. But as soon as you look at the chronology, you're like, yeah, Blackburn just stuffed it. Like they didn't send the majority of the important documents until after 11 o'clock. If it's one piece of paper, one form, I can see there being some forgiveness, just out of equity and fairness, if there's a reason for it. But I think, to me, it really, as Andrew said, it really spins on the international transfer clearance and what the delay was potentially for that.
I thought you did a great job of describing it, but there were kind of 2 things that weren't exactly clear to me. Is the deadline 11 p.m. and then because it deals with English to Welsh, we get the extension to midnight?
Yes.
And that's the 1 hour. So maybe some of the paperwork, the normal paperwork, didn't get in by it. Like, that's the other part. Is only the international paperwork allowed to be an hour late, or is the whole transaction allowed? Okay.
No.
So that's what it could have been. They could have.
That would be unfair. I mean,
11 o'clock with some paperwork, and then got the international paperwork in by midnight.
Yeah, no, that would be a patent unfairness that you can't have, is to end up saying, because your international transfer clearance gives you another hour, that you're allowed to submit other documents, the domestic stuff, all of the other lists that are whatever section, I think 44.6 of the regulations or whatever it is, that list out what you have to send. No, those are obligated to be in by 11 o'clock. And if we miss that and don't have a reason for it, then we're done.
I didn't know how interconnected everything was, and if you really couldn't complete it. If the deal that you were trying to finish, you had to take some amount of information off that and put it on the international, and so I didn't know how easy it was to send that second document.
Yeah, and I know that there was a 2017 decision involving Leicester in Portugal, where the international transfer clearance took 7. It was 14 seconds. They got 2 hours. They had a 2-hour extension. We only had 1. And I think it was it Andrew, or no, it was John who ended up pulling the actual regulation that made it an hour. So it was 2 hours previously, and back in 2017, and Leicester missed it by 14 seconds. And FIFA said, nope, you're done. We're not even going to consider it. So you have to have, I mean, they didn't, as I understand it, didn't have a good reason for it. They just didn't get it to FIFA in time. But the question for me is what were we missing? And if it was a domestic document, was it in before 11? And if it was the international one, was it in before 12? If the answer to those 2 questions is yes, then you have to let it go. You have to let the deal go. And if the answer to one of them is no, then I think it turns on, well, is there a really good reason for it? I mean, look, you can miss limitation periods in litigation, and you can still go to court and say, we intended to do it, we gave instructions to do it, but it didn't get filed because of whatever reason, and the court will allow that if and limitation periods are like strict. So there has to be a reason. But anyway,
Jeff is really pulling for you to get out on that pitch. And
Jeff wants to be on the pitch, and he also wants me in the arbitration.
Yes, exactly.
Blinded with legal skills.
Hey Dale, I saw you mention the 1864. That's one of the names. Have you guys seen the names of Ryan Reynolds' new beer that he's bringing out? It'll be able to be sold in America and in Wales, and they're trying to figure out what they're going to name it. They have like 3 brand names they're thinking about. They went and copyrighted all, got all the brands and everything lined up. They're still trying to pick, and one of them's like Wrexham 1864 might be one of the names of the beers. So, I heard that it's an outside chance that they'd have Wrexham Lager Brewery brew it for them. So that would be
That would be awesome. I was wondering about the IP stuff because some of the names that he picked were actually really close to ones that you'd expect for Wrexham Lager to own. So I was wondering if there was maybe some sort of an understanding and agreement as between the two. But
yeah, I can't believe that they would just blindside them and not accommodate them in any way. And how great would it be to be making the beer in Wrexham, creating more jobs
yeah.
And it looks like, I don't know exactly how long Wrexham Lager has been supporting their stance there, right? But they've been involved for a really long time, and to just kind of supplant them with your own beer would just be awful. It would be an awful look. So I would figure they're going to accommodate them
somehow. Just to go back to the 14 seconds, I'm with you, except if there's no reason for it, you know what the deadline is. So you've got to have a bright line. So I know it's only 14 seconds, but to me, if there's no reason for why it was delayed, then you have a deadline for a reason. It's all about being able to demonstrate what that reason could be. And thanks, John, you're proving to be a valuable resource. In that the Premier League gets 2 hours if they use deal sheets, and the EFL gets 1 hour. So differences between the two that I don't necessarily understand all of those nuances yet, but not what I expected to do on the weekend was to be diving into regulations on international transfer certificate rules and tapping up.
Did anyone else see what they did at halftime with the lights there? I think they were trying to give everybody in the stadium a stroke.
A wake-up call.
Oh, my goodness. Just strobing and all sorts of stuff there.
That's awesome. Father Ted and Dale are going to be in the same stand. And yeah, no, and it was mentioned by somebody on Twitter, and I'm not going to be able to recall their name, but it was the right comment, is the person that's hurt the most from this is George Armstrong, he's with a team that he's already made comment about how excited he was to leave. And they've really got a lot of strikers now, which second as far as harm's probably the Harrogate, because they've got 2 new additions and limited funds, fees, right? And they got to pay those, and then so it's just unless there was an egregious error on the documents, I think that the deal just has to go forward if it's the international transfer certificate, and that's sort of what I'm holding out for. Luke Armstrong, Mr. Armstrong. Send him to the moon. Jesus, I shouldn't have used his name in vain. But Dale, you're going to get shown quite the trip there if you've got invites everywhere. You're not going to be able. That cowboy hat's going to be recognized all over the place. Oh, just getting back in the second half. I'm not doing any work because I'm following along. I might stay here anyway. And you know what's weird is I think that the white noise sucked me in. The white noises. I still got the highlighter in my hand, like I'm going to be doing something. I can multitask, right?
Okay, here goes Newcastle right now. Newcastle with the ball, midfield. Oh, that would be interesting. That's a great idea, Sandy. Watch the Welcome to Wrexham watch party.
Do we do a virtual watch party because the U.S. gets it before everybody else?
Oh, do we?
Yeah, you get it the day before Canada, and I think a day before the UK, but I'm not 100% certain. I was wondering, like, do we do a Thursday review and quarterback of it?
Yeah, I get it on the 12th, I think.
You get it on the 12th. I don't get it till the 13th. And the hard part about doing things midweek is I work when everything's going on in Wales, right? And so it's tough to do. It was like, do we do it on a Thursday evening for me? But then that's forever o'clock. So yeah, everybody gets it on the 12th, except for us in Canada. I'll have to raise my complaints. I should double check it. I can go to Disney after the break and confirm. But if it is going to be live and we're all on the 12th and we can all get it, then I'm happy to try and figure out some way to accommodate it. It's just scheduling the timing of it. So let's look to do that. And the 17th, the women's match. And I'm trying to get my wife to join me on that one. And she's like, I don't know enough about football. I was like, he's just chatting. It's just chatting. And then what else do we have coming up? The other big thing, my subscribers. I've gained more subscribers in the last 3 days than I have at any other point in time. So if you haven't hit the subscribe button, I'd certainly welcome that. The goal on my end is I was just telling Brendan beforehand, is to bring in some more graphics and stuff like that. And I've figured out how to do that. I just have to actually sit down and do them. So, but review party, I'll look into that for sure. In the meantime, is it just me or do they keep getting rid of the graphic as to where we are with the game? Is that just... There we go. 47th minute.
Yes. It's very tiny, and it overlaps with the stadium, so it's hard to see sometimes. Yeah, Newcastle with the ball in midfield. Passing back to the goal. Really happy with
it's weird. You know what it is, Brendan? It's every time you talk about the match, the white noise comes back a little bit because you were fine all the way through, and then all of a sudden it just jumped up. We've got a chance here. Dalby kick in the back. That was unselfish and Cleworth well over top of the net. Did the I love the little back heel here that ended up coming from Dalby because he's had the defender in front. You know what? I would have taken that with the right because he still had the defender to his left. What do you think, Brendan? Too unselfish?
I don't know. The goalie was well over to the right. I don't think he had any part of the middle of the goal to shoot. So I think he had to pass.
Yeah. The other thing is, when on the 12th is it released at midnight? And midnight, whose jurisdiction?
I can check that right now.
Did he give a penalty, a yellow card for playing the ball outside of the box? He did. Ogonkwo, let's see where he grabs this.
No, it's inside the box, and he picked it up. No one touched it. What's he complaining? They gave him some sort of penalty. They kicked him from the corner. They gave him a yellow card.
Gave him a yellow card, and so they'll have to kick from just outside the box there. And I think that was the appropriate call. He got overexcited there and touched it, handled it, made a mess of it. And I'm assuming that the yellow card is automatic in the rule book because that seems to me like a free kick would have been sufficient. But this one's exceptionally close to the box. 2-man wall. They're only what is that? 12 feet, 15 feet away from the goal line. Right-footed take. And he's going for it, misses everything. That was the best shot for Newcastle so far, our best attempted goal, I think. Because he's got the touch there, brings it back in, back heels it, rolls out, picks it up on the line. And the ref, I mean, he was in the perfect position. Got to give the compliment to the ref when they deserve it, because how often do you see them way offline and taking their time in the midfield on something like that? Yeah, automatic card. Yeah, that's what I figured it had to be. Because giveaway, Ogonkwo saving his own bacon, and he's creative, but not a lot of confidence being instilled on this one.
Yeah. So mine says 3 a.m. East Coast time.
So midnight Pacific.
It says the 13th though. So yeah. So you go 12th during the day, 13th in the morning. So Yeah.
I mean, I guess everybody could watch it again and then watch it with the watch party. Nobody's saying you can't watch it twice. Man, Newcastle's been busting through here. They've got one on the left side now, and just the finish, like they've had their opportunities this half. That was a busted play from midfield and the giveaway that Newcastle just turned 3-on-2. Tunnicliffe on one side, George trying to get back and covering two guys, gets there and he just rips it up over the net. Need to settle it down. Club record for the EFL Trophy, is that true? 79988. Man, that's going to upset everybody who thinks that it should be boycotted. p.m. Eastern time, the 12th, the next day on Hulu Disney.
Oh, that's dangerous pass.
Just need to settle it down, and that means also the back line helping them out a little bit here.
They seem invigorated. They are flying around.
52nd minute.
Nice hit ahead.
That was Luke Young with the great ball over top, and that's got to be Ford there. No, it's Dalby. That's Ford there, looking to interplay with each other.
Yeah, it's got to get around. Yeah.
Loses it. Jones to Young. Young over to Tunnicliffe. I guess the good thing is nothing negative to say about Cleworth and Tunnicliffe in the back, which is sort of what you want with your center backs, right? You'd love to be able to talk about them like when Hayden scores or Boyle's been chipping in, but not hearing of them is probably just as effective and means they're doing their thing.
Yeah. Newcastle with the ball, throwing it in.
And I'm wondering, I'll have to follow up, John, on the stadium attendance. Is that just with EFL Trophy games involving B teams, or whether that's club record for EFL Trophy games, full stop? Because I know that there's a lot of people who say it shouldn't be followed. Whatever, it's an extra game. Go out and enjoy some football.
When about does do we do the Papa John's as well? I wonder when about that starts.
Sorry, which I didn't miss that.
Papa John's, is that one of the?
That's this competition is the Papa John's Trophy.
This is the Papa John's. Okay.
This is the Papa John's Cup, the Pizza Cup, the Papa John's Trophy. That's why I've got the nickname the Pizza Cup, is because of the current sponsor. And it's unlike the EFL Cup has gone through sponsors almost every year. I mean, when we won it, it was the VDL, I think, or VDL Cup, which was a van manufacturer in England that no longer exists, went into receivership and then bankruptcy, and then had its assets sold. But it's had many different forms. It used to just be third and fourth tier knockout competition. Then it turned into this group play. Then the B teams were added, and so it's had a history of trying to make itself interesting.
So we still have the FA Cup other than this.
FA Cup's still on the horizon, and the draw. I think the draw is announced in October, November. I have to do that, and we'll do the ball drop thing to find out who we end up getting. Like we did with the EFL Cup for round 1 and round 2. Yes, yeah, Timmy's to sponsor the Double Cup. Be all over the Double Cup. But then if we didn't treat it, we shouldn't talk about Timmy's when Stoke is the sponsor for all things Wrexham. But can you imagine having like a Timbits stadium and an ice cap stand and The EFL Cup is the drink cup. Then the EFL Trophy is the pizza cup. Yeah, drink cup, pizza cup.
Here's a nice pass ahead. Oh!
Not offside.
No penalty?
Oh, that taken down. What, really?
Wow.
Really? So Dalby got it in there. We've played it quickly, so we're not going to get a replay. Got it through. Goalie, to be fair, made the save on the ball, but it looked like his response afterwards was a further reach out. Like, not that the contact came in afterwards. Yeah, the chip went over top, and he pulled him out. Like, to me, on whether that's a penalty or not is dependent on whether he pulled him down after the ball was chipped over top of him and gone, or whether it was a consequence of the save. If it's a consequence of the save, then let it go. But I saw that as being a penalty and an extra move to end up bringing them down. We wait for the replay as we play with the ball just inside their half. John thinks it looked like a penalty. Sandy's craving a farmer's wrap. I'm going to have to put up the promotion tag that I've been sponsored by Timmy's the way we're talking about it. I'll put this out there, Sandy, based on your last comment, as something you can consider as a fan who's born and raised in Canada, who's now following teams in England, and one that we shall not be named, that we connected through is when we watched the Blue Jays win the World Series in 92-93, and before that, my dad and I always said that for Canadian teams to win in the U.S. competition, that they have to be far and above better than everybody else, because they do not get any assistance from the referees. I'm now watching Wales play in the English competition, and I'm wondering if that same application exists, that the Welsh team has to be far and away better than the English team, because they're not going to get any assistance from the referees. I hate suggesting those sorts of things because of my job, and I like to think most people are on the up and up, and especially referees.
Great pass.
But as I've watched some of these games, just pushed a little too far.
The great guy got back on D. I don't know who it was, but he was very fast. Otherwise, Waters was wide open.
Which, if you agree, Sandy, then that makes us masochists. Because we're here again, signing up for a squad to enjoy being the little ones. Taking on the big bad giants of England football.
They just showed the replay for goalie picking up the ball. It didn't look that bad. But,
Kim's got it that it's because of our status, having Hollywood owners, which would be surprising given, I mean, I guess it's not in the EFL, but in Premier League, they got big money from all over the place, right? And Ryan and Rob, all the love and respect to them, they ain't bringing that money.
Here they come, wide open. Newcastle
wide open.
A
little slow on the legs there was Tunnicliffe. Was that George with the big reach? Man, how long are his legs? He got there on that tackle. So, this is going to be that replay. Finally. So, long ball from Ogonkwo all the way up to Dalby.
The arm on the knee. The goalie grabbed Dalby.
Yeah, see, that's that extra lean. That's a penalty.
Yeah,
to me, that's a penalty.
He hooked his knee with his hand.
Yeah, and more than the contact, the question is, was his contact with him a natural consequence of him making the save?
And he pulled it. See, he pulled up the knee.
Yeah, no, and he rolled and grabbed his leg. No, there's no way. That's a penalty. It should have been a penalty. We'll wait for John and Andrew's opinion if they have it.
Andrew said he was focusing on the Mendy situation. He doesn't want to be proven wrong.
Oh, okay. I guess the question is from Andrew and John, do I have it right that if the goalie makes contact with a player while it's in the natural position of making a save, that it's not a penalty, but in a circumstance where he reaches around and slides down the leg of the player and makes the extra pull of the boot, whether that's a penalty? Because, yeah, John's with me that should have been. In come some big dogs.
Here we go.
Palmer, O'Connor. Dalby's taking a break, and Tunnicliffe's coming out, which, to be fair, that was the first time Tunnicliffe running back for that ball on that last break that George Evans had to split up made me think that Tunnicliffe had lost his get up. His batteries were low.
I hope that, I hope Dalby didn't get dinged up there. That might have been why they pulled him for Palmer.
Suckers for punishment, Sandy. That's all I can say.
Do you think they call tournament games different? You know, like are they not calling as many penalties now because it's a tournament, it's a looser game, or is it supposed to be ref the same? I don't have any experience with it.
I'm to understand it's supposed to be the same. The thing that's interesting to me is that the Cubs and the red cards and everything, they don't carry over. They're competition exclusive. So if we were to get a red card here from somebody and end up bashing somebody and getting a suspension for it, well, discretion, I think they can apply to the league, but typically it just goes as far as to the next trophy matches. So it would make the derbies a little bit more fun because I think there'd be some more aggressive play because it wouldn't affect how it affected the league, right?
Yeah.
That's a good ball. Straight into the middle of the box, can't get their waters taken down in the back.
Clear it out.
I don't think that was a penalty, although the appeal was certainly there. Oh, yes, I didn't bring the score up again. Every time I bring up a chat, I'm supposed to
There
do
it is,
that.
there it is. Over the goal again. That's all Waters does. Oh.
It's good. Field goal. It's good. The point after. I don't think you could do that again if you tried.
Or something. He thinks the goal is like 8-9 meters up or something. I don't know what he's aiming at.
I don't. Well, more important, the question for me is why the big wind up here? Like he's got to hammer it through somebody. The goalie's coming forward, but he's back. He had either way to pick, and he could have probably got down and blown the thing in. Good for McFadden, and
I haven't seen him really create opportunities, but he keeps getting set up, and he just doesn't finish.
It's got to be frustrating for him too. Waters getting another one from Palmer. Oh, nice call that.
That was a good call. You could see him legitimately get pulled over
there. And Palmer is not a small man. Yeah, he jumped as he's jumping past him, just reached and grabbed his shoulder and pulled him back.
Yeah, I agree, Tim. I mean, like, if they have to get rid of somebody, that's the guy to go, as far as I'm concerned. Keep Bickerstaff.
So who's taking this, Tom or Luke?
It all depends on where the goalie lines up, if they're trying to bend it left or right, where the wall is. O'Connor looks like he's going to do it. I think Young's
no, that's got to be that's got to be Young. The wall is to the left of the ball. They're giving the right, Young, so you're taking Young with the right foot. Goalie, who's a lip reader? Who's a lip reader?
Evans just walked up and said something. Here goes O'Connor. Oh, off the crossbar! What a kick!
Woodwork. To the corner. There's our corner. So that one, if people don't, it was O'Connor who ended up taking it, left-footed, over top of the wall, curling down just off the woodwork, probably, what was that, about 4 feet in from the edge of the bar, off the crossbar. Pops back out, and Young's able to get it and pops it right back in with a right foot sky ball into the box. And the header from Jones just ended up going up over top. to the corner, helped out. Another corner and header. Palmer knocks it to the left. We're racing out. That's Waters to save it. And actually, you know what? Give him credit for putting his head down and getting to it. McFadden running forward, hammers it off of three defenders and plays pinball and comes to Tom. Hey!
It over the net. What a shocker.
Way more fun when it's like this. 66th minute.
Yeah, Palmer missed another one, John, right over the net. I don't know. I guess I'd like to see a closer replay, but it doesn't look like there was any reason why he shouldn't have had a better hit on that. The question is, if we get rejected on the appeal for Armstrong, would they still go and get him if Mullen was back come
the January window?
Yeah. I mean, I was kind of surprised. I don't know enough about Armstrong, but it's not like he was a champion or League One player, or like primarily. So, is he really that good? Like, should we just let it go and wait for something better? Because we messed up with Hanlon supposedly, right? According to you, like we didn't check with the team first, and then they got pissy and decided to say they weren't accepting the deal.
Well, no, I don't think that that's true. I think they knew we were doing dealings, but did we get written authority? The answer looks like it was probably no. But I think it was just an oversensitive owner on the Wickham thing. So that one can be put aside. I'm not worried about the tapping up thing at all. On the George Armstrong in January, I would like to still think that it's the international transfer clearance and we're going to get that and a reprieve on the squad list and everything's all fine. But it's impossible for me to answer the question because it really turns down to a question of ethics and need. On where Armstrong fits in with Wrexham, listen to the Fearless and Devotion podcast that they just put out yesterday or the day before. They talk about how his skill set is perfectly suited for Wrexham. And when they started to break down, and it was somebody they brought in into the podcast that said that if you were to try to create the type of player that you would exactly want to put on the Wrexham team, that Luke Armstrong fits that model perfectly. And if that's the case, that got me more excited, more frustrated that we didn't get the deal. What do you do in January? You can go out and you can find somebody else. You can bring him back in. You could end up feeling ethically motivated to make sure that you finalize a deal that you're supposed to finalize earlier. I mean, the question is if you're Harrogate, you think you have a deal and you look at it being Wrexham's fault, whether that's right or wrong, and it didn't happen. And then the team doesn't come forward in January or comes back with a reduced fee. You're going to be like, you guys are shady. And so it's almost like a corporate integrity, which you don't have to follow corporate integrity. It's football. All is fun and love and war, right? But to me, if it's a player that you want and then you get him in January and you probably do it at the same terms. And if you wanted to do something different, then it raises questions. So who knows? I'm not Robin Ryan. I'm not Shaun Harvey.
So you're thinking that, assuming Mullen's back and healthy, that's your parent, Mullen Armstrong, not Mullen Palmer or Mullen Darby. You think it's Mullen Armstrong?
And because Armstrong can play in the midfield, he may end up playing in the midfield and freeing up space. That's sort of the overview that I got, is rather than a set piece guy, but he's apparently one of the best around at keeping people at bay, protecting the ball, and then setting people up. So if that's the case, and I've never seen the guy, I don't know. I'm just going off of what I've heard from the podcast.
He's only 6'1", though. He's not tall. right? Like he's not Dalby or Palmer. He doesn't have that height. So I didn't know if that was going to cut down on our chance for long balls and crosses and everything like that.
Yeah, he sounds like a guy who drives the engine as far as pushing things through the midfield. So if that's the case and he can slide up or back and play in a pairing, or they use him sort of up front to supplement two strikers, then who knows? Parky knows. But it sounds like he's got a skill set that we could use. Whether he signs in January, I think it all comes down to who Rob and Ryan are as people, and what Harrogate's appetite is after this potential kerfuffle occurs, because we don't know if this kerfuffle is going to continue after this week, right?
He's more Elliot Lee. Okay. So that's
Elliot Lee with a little bit more Palmer is the way I look at it.
Okay, so that's the other thing. Based on the players that they've been grabbing in the middle, I was wondering if he was going to change how we line up. Instead of
turnover here. That's Ford looking for a cross.
Kicked out.
Well defended, but we get position. Go ahead.
Would we possibly run, even if we don't get Armstrong, would we run McLean and Lee in the midfield, Mendy on the wing? Would we have, guys up more to assist Lee? Because Lee seems to be the only one really feeding the forwards. And
Lee in the midfield, right? Skill. Mendy and Ford coming up, but that's the whole thing with the wing backs is they've got more time to cover. They're up and down the field a lot more. To me, if you're able to distribute more ball to a guy in the middle, somebody just got a card here. Why did this get all blown down?
Oh, he's more physical than Dalby and Palmer. That's good.
Odd interchange with the fourth official with Parky there and Ford standing holding his ankle. I don't know what that was all about, sort of. And he's talking in his headset to somebody.
Yeah, no, I understand
But
what's going on.
the thing is I know a lot of people are saying, it's $500,000 and we don't want to spend that and whatever. The way I look at it is if the people who identified the talent ended up saying that he want them, then I want them, right? That's give it a shot. Especially you don't want to hurt your social capital with other teams and potential deals in the future because you couldn't get a deal across the line because of paperwork. Now, I don't know if that's our fault, international transference, whatever it is, but I'm hoping that I'd like to at least get the story. Yeah, Harrogate has to be able to struggle, Maurice and Andrew. They have to be struggling because they went out and got a player on loan and signed another player, and they still have him.
Evans with the yellow card.
We will see. I'm hoping I don't have to do another video on the topic this week, but I think until the arbitration decision comes out, if there is one, or we get stories, it's not much more I can add to it.
Andrew, I thought they picked up 2 more strikers to backfill. Now I think they're overloaded with striker.
March and Civi. Civi's not a striker. Civi's a midfielder who can play up. But they went and got him on loan, and they got March to fill. So now, and with Muldoon, I think is their regular guy. So now they have 4 guys potentially that could play up front, and that's too much salary. Harrogate's not a talent team that's got a whole bunch of turnover. So this is going to be a big ask. In fact, I think they're trust owned. It's going to be a big ask for them. And that's the prejudice that we speak of, depending on what the circumstances are that have to be considered. And because you can't screw over a team because you want to formally adhere to your rules when everything was done on the up and up, if it was.
Based on everything everybody here is saying with John and Andrew, Ken, and everybody, if he's an upgrade, then I would expect even if we lose the appeal, then they will make a move for him in the January window, right? I mean, if he's young enough, if he looks like the perfect fit, then we'll get him. It's just on delay, right?
Yeah.
Bickerstaff coming in. and Barnett.
75th minute. It's kind of been a ho-hum game. We certainly took control in the second half. I'd suggest that both midfield sort of struggled, and so it was lots of long balls, lots of searching for play. That was Ford that came off, because whoever it was got a large ovation, which was deserved, to be fair. I thought Ford was man of the match probably for me down the right side. Calm. Man, it's those, the composure that Luke Young has. You just kind of have to, he's got men closing in around him, and he just does a quick little, right at the top of the box, and a quick little turnaround, clears the ball out. No issue. I would not have the soccer IQ to even contemplate that. I'd be hammering the ball off of somebody's shin, just hoping that it got away from me. That's... I took screenshots of the announcement, but it didn't have the transfer amount. The rumor is that it was a record, which would have had to have put into the 500,000 quid range. And that's sort of what people have been talking about as the number. So 77th minute. Man, that was a hard pass from George.
If it would make sense to never disclose that amount, that way, you'd be willing sometimes to pay more for a guy, and then other times, you'd still have a chance to bargain with other teams because they wouldn't know how much you paid before.
Well, all the transfer stuff, the outgoing transfers count against your financial fair play, your salary cost management protocol numbers. It's wages and it's transfers, so it's got to get out there eventually. Anyways,
wow.
Newcastle on the way.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, outgoings, not incoming. Incoming is football fortune and doesn't count as turnover, but the outgoings, and that makes sense because it's the one-off fee. But you can't have somebody signing $1 billion one-off fees and not have the resources to be able to pay it. So, I mean, the reality is for us is we've got the money in reserve to use it if we wanted to. I know people think $500,000, holy cow, but we've got it. Took the camera guy 3 attempts to get the attendance on the scoreboard. Did you see that?
Yeah.
Andrew, I think you're exactly right that he's more a 10 than anything else. He's sort of a 10 quasi offensive central midfielder. I don't know exactly what formation that would end up looking like, but that Fearless and Devotion podcast that just came out is really worth listening to for the middle portion of it, because they talk about Parky's preferences in playing and style of play, and that because of the personality he has, that he's not able to play his preferred style, and that Armstrong ends up allowing Parky to play his preferred style. So it lots of alarm bells, and why this all was happening seemed to sort of come clear from listening to that podcast. So 79th minute, Newcastle still with it.
I'm not. The only thing I would disagree with Andrew about is how soon Mount's coming back. I thought I heard something that I thought I heard last week that it's not damaged, but it's still sore after being active, and they're now forecasting another 5 weeks. So I mean, we were thinking, it was 1 week, 2 week, 3 at the most, but now I'm hearing at least 5 with presuming he feels good then. So.
How much are the Druids going for? Because I bet you we could put together a fan conglomerate. And that sure would be entertaining. Reading the stories of Mr. Webster are starting to become intriguing as I'm learning about his character as a sidebar to the Wrexham game. 80th 80th minute, Newcastle is kicking it about in the midfield and in the back, but no real threats. Sort of Wrexham keeping its shape and following it around. This is that goal protects status that, Brendan, you hate so much. You always like to have that extra insurance goal because everybody seems to fall on their back heels in the 80th minute and just run around.
They're not pressuring the ball. I really hate
everything.
This is where I think McLean makes a difference. Yeah.
Yeah, still not contact rating. You're probably right. And John, to be fair, our next 4 league games are still against teams that are sort of lower end of the table statistically. So, if we can do what we need to do and put 10 to 12 points up in those 5 games, and we've already got 3 out of those 5, we're in good shape, and most can come back and we can figure it out. If we were completely out of it and taking a lot more losses than we've had our fair share of draws, and we weren't looking good at all, I mean, you're not going to push them back into the lineup, but I'd be desperate for it more. I want them, but I'm not at desperation mode yet for me. Just, it's that back foot thing. And the thing that you got to, Brennan, and you didn't say it, but we're sort of intimating, is we've been successful at getting possession all game by putting that pressure on, right? And then securing it and running it up. And it happens in every, well, not so much in football, gridiron American football, but in basketball and in hockey, where teams with the goal lead just end up going into a shell and they forget everything that was successful about getting them there before.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one's going to be massive. And they're already, Notts County was already identifying who the referee will be and getting into it. That's a game that I kind of wish I'd be able to watch. I don't know whether, I think it's on the same time as the Wrexham game against Doncaster. Otherwise, I'd look to maybe bring that one up. Oh, that's a foul. No card? That looked a little hairy on the tackle to Barnett, didn't it?
Oh, no. They're asking to bring out someone to help.
Didn't that look,
Barnett.
Am I wrong? I mean, I know it was at the other end of the field, but that looked...
Oh, yeah, they got his ankle.
Oh, so just a step. He didn't get him up in a tackle, but he did just crunch him.
It's an ankle injury. He's going to be taking him out.
I'm with you, Tattoo. I'm with you, except for, and Tattoo said Notts County, I can't wait for that. I'm with you as long as we end up taking a draw or a win. A loss to Notts County would just be insufferable because I've learned that even from the EFL Cup on a penalty win, the Bradford fans just going, sorry, Bradford City, as I got into a long debate about the obligation to describe Bradford as Bradford City because it's different than Bradford Avenue Park and Bradford Town. I was like, how are people getting confused on that? Like, I'm not talking about anybody but the team that we were playing against. But yeah, we can't lose.
They may have to bring in a leader or something. He's looking off.
Well, we do get extra subs, but he does look like he's out of sorts with that one. That was a rough tackle.
It looks like he tackled the wrong foot. It looks like Barnett hit it with his left, but was clipped.
Took it on the right.
Ankle.
It looks like he's stretching to try and get back in. Yeah, more goals, more shots, and more expected goals in play, but we're also defensively struggling. The only defensive stat
that's ridiculous.
All the way through, and no call.
He could have taken a piggyback ride there. He had both hands on his shoulder, pulling him down.
Mark Griffith's description just goes, well, that's weird. But going back to the stats that were there from our expected goals are up. The only defensive stat that we're leading is on our expected goals per set play. We're the lowest defensively. Like, so we allow the least amount from the opponent's set play. So it's really just been.
We have to have the worst percentage of scoring off of set plays, thanks to last weekend alone.
We were at the top. I don't know where we are as of last weekend, but prior to that, we were at the top of that one. So our set play has been the strong suit. It's been the open play defense that's hurt us. Palmer's now giving it to him. Oh, we're getting a card here.
Well, that little guy.
And that was that. Well, you know what this is all about and he's going to take him and have a talking to him. But this is the referee losing control of the game because of the Barnett shot, and there were two clutch and grab holds that didn't end up getting a penalty or a foul. And so you just see this one where he gets pulled down here, and then you see this player come through and get a little bit rowdy, and Palmer just grabbed him by the collar.
Yeah. Yeah, this is a great call by you, Shaun. This ref's lost control of the game. Palmer's about to take
And to be fair, I actually thought that he'd done a reasonably good job, minus those conversations that we had about the penalties and but on letting the play happen, he was letting it happen. Then he started to call some of the fouls, and now he's let it go again. So the standard is lost on what to call, and so that's ending up in this frustration here.
There's no reason when a guy has both hands on the top of someone's shoulder and they're pulling down.
Down, yeah.
Like, you can't let that go.
Lee coming in, I assume that was Barnett that went out there. I missed who. Corner Saturday, 1 goal. And then that was sort of the game against Barrow. How many corners did we have in that game? With nothing. Ooh. So 88th minute, Evans, that was brave, getting that leg out there with the guy running through.
Yeah. He doesn't have any fear. He already has a yellow, too.
Well, brave, because I was just thinking the last thing I want is for anybody to end up getting their leg ripped off. Blown up as the guy was running through there.
See, now
we're doing it too. Like Jones there all over the Newcastle defender, grabbing him by the back of the jerseys. He's running forward, but the referee's been letting that go most of the game.
There's a cross.
It's interesting. People are nobody knows where Moles is. Some are saying no contact and he had a setback. Some are saying they hear he's close. It's one of the things I don't even want to have a look at it because I have no idea. So 89th minute, going to have to be what are we saying, 6 minutes of extra time?
Yeah.
No goals, but we've had a couple of injured players. That was a nice little play for Newcastle down the left side. They're running forward in numbers. Evans is there, leaves it for Ogonkwo to see if he can take it, rolls out.
Evans was smart there. He knew he could let it roll out. Get the goal.
Yeah. I'll tell you, for a Tuesday, it's been great with the numbers. Slow build. We're up to 45, which for a trophy game, I will definitely take that. If you haven't had a chance to hit the subscribe button, go down below and hit that, especially on YouTube. Follow along. I'm working on big things for the next 3-4 days as far as graphics. We'll see if I can figure them out.
I'm trying to get Shaun to have all sorts of goal audio that we can hit the button on when they score.
What's the audio? Just going to be Mark Griffith screaming goal, or
we have to get Mark in there, but we have to get some of the classic goals from some of the biggest, goals.
Yeah. 6 minutes of extra time. All right. I missed that when it came through, but we're now 30 seconds into it, and the ball is just getting hopped back and forth. But you know what's happened as to why the break and play is we're now up running after them a little bit, right? There's pressure on their midfield, which hasn't been able to hold up all game. And now that we've applied the pressure on again, and maybe it was the subs, maybe we just didn't have the legs. Now the subs have come in and they're able to put the pressure on. But now that we've got it, the balance has shifted.
Nicely.
Yeah, McFadden and Lee team up for a great little. They've got it back.
Hello, Jennifer.
Hey, Jen, it's nice to have you here. You've missed a game. I wouldn't say it's had lots of excitement. Neither team really able to connect through the midfield as much as they'd like, but Wrexham certainly better than Newcastle. Okay, here they come. Minute and a half into extra time.
On the right wing. Uh-oh. Good deflection. Good solid play. Nice clear.
Get it out. Just a good clear. See, and that's...
Come on, kick it out. Give it to Palmer. Give it to Palmer. There it is.
Up. We got numbers up ahead, but we're getting chased down. Up to Palmer. Hammer that thing. Left-footed. Goes back to his right. Misses it. Is his left that bad? Because he had it if available if he wanted it. Yes, it's Wrexham 1-0. Sorry, I keep hitting the button to bring in chats, and then I continue to forget to bring in the scoreboard, which is something I'm hoping to fix with the graphic interface stuff, because I'm learning. We're figuring it out.
That was a very good left-footed pass by Bickerstaff there.
It was. But that little fake left and then touch over to the right to try and get it.
John. Palmer missed another one.
I would have liked to have seen Palmer just bear down with the left.
Yeah, he doesn't. I don't think he can hit it with his left, because the left side of the goal was open and there was no one in his way. He could have buried it if he had his left, but he didn't. He had to get it back to his right, and then it was a difficult shot. But he had to curl it. Yeah, Mullen would have definitely scored on that. Like it would have been easy. He wouldn't even have been excited about it. He would have been confident and just been walking around like, yeah, that was an easy one.
Andrew giving his buds the business. Three minutes in, Newcastle nice. With it. Referee almost blew a heel there.
Kicks it out to,
plays it to play on. Oh.
Palmer needed to give it a little more room. If he cleared it wide out to the left, Bickerstaff would have run under it.
See, the thing about Palmer, and this is me being not watching the game streaming until we had the service in the National League, is where did all of his goals come before, like the first half of last year and the year before? Because that's all he did was he scored, and you just saw all these highlights. And then the streaming started with Vanarama in the National League, and it was like then it just all stopped. That was a nice little pass from Palmer there. That's why he's there. Got it back to Lee, but nothing he could really get on that one. So I don't know if he's just fallen off of a cliff. I don't know if it's the nature of play has changed so much. Wow, that was a great aggressive tackle.
Yeah, 4 minutes, 2 minutes left in the game.
2 minutes left. Bring the score back up.
Yes, Jen, we were just talking that. I was naming McLean as probably my favorite player now.
And mine was the guy that just had the smart play there to allow that to go for a goal kick. Yeah, to go for O'Connor, yeah. Just the crowd is so quiet. You would never imagine looking at the crowd that we're up 1-0.
Everything that Palmer's hit with the header lately has been high. He hasn't been able to keep any of them down. So I'm thinking like if you're expecting a header to go in, you're looking for Boyle or Hayden to drill those. Right? Those are probably the best two options.
40 seconds left on the clock, and
Yep.
here comes Newcastle.
Oh,
Yikes.
the boy just blew that one.
Whew, let off the hook on that one. Far left. You know what? Give Algonquin credit on this one. Watch how big this. I know he's. What is he? 6'2"? Is he taller than that? Because you look at the line here. They break it through the box. It's a wide open shot. Algonquin comes out and he just seems big, doesn't he?
Yeah. If that kid kept it down though, it was in. I don't think he could have got down in time.
6'5".
6'5". You know, he was all of it again. I bet it looks like he's one of those guys that has like the 6'7", 6'8" wingspan or something. Yeah, I know that's his height. I just mean sometimes guys' arms are longer.
And it's over. So I guess that's points in the B division, Group B of the 7-foot wingspan. That's nuts. In the B division of the EFL Trophy, which we're going to have 2 more games, Port Vale and Crew Alexandra coming up, part of one of 3 games against Crew. Port Vale in League One, so we'll follow along with the trophy stuff, and I'm happy. I always like to see wins, but I'm also ho-hum because it's the Pizza Cup. If I got 54 people, far better than I thought on a Tuesday, is concurrent, constant people staying on and watching that are here watching now. So hit the subscribe button before you leave. Gonna try to get to the graphics this week so that I can do a whole bunch of new fun tricks and stuff, and I hope I don't let anybody down. Brandon, I owe you about like 3 or 4 beers now. It's just racking up. You're going to be liquored whenever it is, whenever we get a chance to meet up. Another fun one will be on for the Donny game, my wife's hometown. So that'll be fun. I probably won't be able to say anything bad about the club in the preview video for fear that I get chastised when I walk around the town sometime in the future. So we'll take that 2 points up. Thanks for everybody. Did I say Port Vale? Oh yeah. Well, both are old rivals, to be fair, geographically and historically. Like if you were to create a perfect group out of League One and League Two and suggest on geographical rivals, I think a lot of people would have said add Vale and Crew Alexandra to it. So thanks everybody that's here. I missed the call out if there were any countries or new states or that haven't been covered before, but I appreciate everybody being here. Asham, no worries. I'm gonna sign this one off. Look to see what's going on in the world of Luke Armstrong. Maybe we'll have an update on that one. And another blast. Look, it always gets more chatty at the end. Do I end up having to start to do a?
O finally showed up in the chat, and hold on. Yeah,
Maybe
Jeff's
I need to
back
start
now.
running an after match party if I had the time. Somebody, if let's put this out there. I created this whole idea with the website, which is being ignored, and the social media stuff, and this watch party with Brendan joining, and I've got somebody else who's actually going to create a video and put it out and use the Red Horde platform, was for anybody to get involved. So if there's somebody who wants to, I know Sandy was talking about the watch party or the post-watch party of the documentary. I know that there are people out there who are interested in streaming and watching the women's and doing stuff with the women's stuff. If you have an interest in doing that, chat with me. Send me a message. Easiest is through Twitter. Follow me, and if I don't follow you back, it embarrass me. But let's have a chat and figure out how to get everybody in who gets to do what they want to do. You want to do graphics? Cool. You want to just quarterback the chats and deal with making this what it could be? I want to just group everybody as the Wrexham community in the way that they want to be grouped in and having a chat about things and getting to know everybody. So I was talking about having a round table where different podcasters and different fans, and we just have a fan group get together once a week and just chat about Wrexham. So if you guys have ideas, I'm limited on my time. But if there's other people, I can hand over the keys if people are interested in doing certain things. So let me know. All right. I feel guilty saying goodbye with all of these viewers, but I don't have the time to carry on. Brendan, if you want to carry on, I'm happy to let you have the keys. Otherwise, we can say next time we'll do some sort of after party. I'll leave it with you.
Yeah, it wouldn't be the same without you. Why don't we just punt it to Saturday and be happy with this win?
Done deal. It's a win. Thanks, everybody, for stopping by, and we'll catch you on the flip. Don't forget the subscribe button. All right. Cheers.